Kaisen fans, this is Chris Boats coming in with an episode review of this week's episode 57, Tokyo Colony number 4. Now, before I do get into the content, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really helps me out. Now, I had so much fun with this episode, and once again, it shows the talent and depth of Studio Mappa. Now, you originally think that this episode is going to be story, which it is, but I'm going to tell you something right now. This is quite possibly one of the best comedies I have ever seen in my life. I was cracking up throughout this episode. Well, at least when this character shows up right here. His name is Humihiko Tagaba. He is a slapstick entertainer, and he just comes in and he makes a big giant entrance. This guy is so funny. He's sitting there talking about zero damage, and when you're just looking at Megumi right here, he's just turning around because this guy is absolutely ridiculous. And then they're gonna cut over to Reggie and Hazanoki. They are looking just as ridiculous at them, and this goes on for about a couple of minutes here, so I can't really let it play out just like that. I don't want to get copyright striked or anything, but let me just go ahead and fast forward to how Reggie and Hazanoki is responding to him as well. This deadpan humor right there was just absolutely funny. I really appreciated that. Studio Mappa knows how to do comedy. My goodness. And the beats, they didn't miss a beat with that. The timing of all of this was absolutely great. They know when to stay silent. They know when to actually go in there and push things along. Another good thing that happened right here is we all know the scene from Naruto when Kakashi goes ahead and uses 1,000 years of death on Naruto. Humihiko decides to go ahead and do the same thing on Hazanoki. Hazanoki loses track of Humihiko, and here we go. Absolutely hilarious. I loved it. It was so funny. And pretty much this episode is just about Megumi fighting against Reggie, Remy, and Hazanoki here. He actually goes in here and smokes a dude. Well, smoke is the wrong word because he actually killed the guy with knives. You see the outcome of that fight back there. Megumi, which I didn't think he had it in him, but he actually has that dog in him. He killed that guy, got himself 5 points, and he's already accomplished his goal for what he wants to do within this colony, which is namely get a rule onto the board for the culling game that allows players to share points between one another, and that is something that Yuji Itadori had accomplished when he fought Higuruma, which, by the way, that fight from last week's episode, absolutely fire. Boring ass episode, but that fight saves it. This episode right here, however, was not boring at all. I was cracking my ass up when Humihiko came on the scene, but I want to go ahead and rewind it back just a minute right here. I want to show us also the talent of Studio Mappa. This scene right here as Hazanoki is firing his eyeball, which he has the ability to take his body parts and turn them into explosives. Just look at the spectacle of this fire, especially this part right here. That fire looks almost real. If you guys remember the movie Backdraft, that's what that reminds me of right there. That way that fire just came through, that nice crisp. I don't know if that was 2D, but I'm pretty sure it was 3D. I'm pretty sure that fire is 3D, and that seems like a really good seamless integration of 2D and 3D animation, something I haven't seen since 2B Hero X. 2B Hero X is still the standard, but this is damn good right there. The spectacle of that fire going off like that. But there is action in this anime. At first, at the beginning, you think there's probably not a lot, but at the end, when Reggie and Megumi actually start going at each other. Now, here's the thing. I always thought the paper that was on him, it was just ridiculous. And obviously it was something about the paper that was on Reggie that said that there's something more to it than him just looking like a ridiculous fool, naked guy running around with receipts, and that's what they are. They're receipts. I thought they were actually talismans, but they're not. They're just receipts, stapled to him. But that's his curse. That's his technique. That's his curse technique. I don't know if it's called curse technique or just his cursed energy or whatever. I don't understand the power scaling or the power levels of Jujutsu Kaisen, but the fact of the matter is Reggie's technique, and that's what I'm just gonna call it, his technique allows him to go in there and take receipts, and then he can cash those receipts in for whatever service, product, doesn't matter, good, food, whatever. It allows him to cash in those receipts to get the exact same item or service or product that whoever received that receipt had gotten. So here he's using a Ryokan receipt to go in there and refresh himself from having to run around and run away from Megumi, who was chasing him with his own curse technique. And now he's refreshed. He's all ready for another fight. Obviously, Megumi is not refreshed. So he decides to run off, but it's all part of his plan, because Megumi's plan was to actually go ahead and get Reggie into a confined space. Megumi has trouble opening up his cursed domain because it has an opening within his cursed domain that allows people to escape from it. So he's always reluctant to use it. However, he ran to this big giant gym, and now he's getting ready to deploy his cursed domain, and Reggie was surprised that he can actually do a cursed domain. He thought he was dealing with a low-level punk, but no, he is not a low-level punk. Megumi actually has big power, and the name of his curse technique, or his curse domain rather, saw right there, was Crimson Shadow Garden. He had opened that up, or rather Chimera Shadow. I think Crimson Shadow Garden is better, but it's called Chimera Shadow Garden. And you just see this domain expansion coming out, and you see the surprised look on Reggie's face. So Reggie doesn't know what he got himself into. He's getting ready to deal with a really badass Megumi. We all know he's Toji's son, and Toji is no slouch himself. Megumi is definitely no slouch. He knows how to fight. He knows curse technique. He's a high level sorcerer, and Reggie is about to find out with next week's episode. So this episode was so much fun. I really liked the deadpan humor of Humihiko, him coming in, using his body to stop that explosion. He's a really good guy because he doesn't like two people ganging up on one another, and that's why he got into the fight. Anyway, calling Reggie and Hazanoki cowards, and it just leads to one of the best comedy skits I've seen in my life. Reminds me of the old days of Abbott and Costello, Three Stooges. You see that right there. That's the scream. That's the thumbnail, by the way. So this was a really good episode. So much fun. Definitely wasn't boring like last week's episode, and I stand by that. Last week's episode was absolutely boring, but this one was not. Really good fun, really good pyrotechnics, really good comedy, really good action, and that domain technique being used, or rather deployed, doesn't matter, by Megumi Fushiguro against his fight with Reggie. Absolutely a 9 out of 10 for this one. So what are your guys' thoughts on this episode? Did you like this episode? Whatever your thoughts, jump down in the comments below and let me know what you guys think, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff really does help me out. And remember, this is Chris Bolt signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy.